east coast by ferry, and they were expected to return via the same route. But on arrival, North Korean officials said they needed more fuel to go back. There were concerns in Seoul at how this would affect international sanctions, but after 2 days of unsuccessful negotiations with South Korean officials, the North withdrew its request and decided to send the boat back with just the crew, while the art troupe returned via the land route. The art troupe's return did not go ahead without controversy, however. In an embarrassing moment for South Korean officials, a North Korean defector, Kim Yeon-hee, turned up at the border checkpoint, which is meant to be heavily restricted to civilians. Kim, who has previously expressed her desire to return to the North, shouted goodbye to the group and said that she hoped to return as soon as possible, while government officials tried to hold her back. Kim defected to the South in 2011, renounced her ties to the regime, but has since said she was deceived by a broker and has requested to be repatriated, which Seoul has denied. Kwon Jang-ho, Arirang News.
After completing their 3-day trip to South Korea, the high-level delegation from Pyongyang, including Kim Yo-jong, the sister of the regime's leader, returned to the north yesterday as well. Before their departure, President Moon Jae-in and the visiting delegation watched a performance by the regime's art troupe together in Seoul. Here's Park Hyo-jun with a closer look at their exchanges.
The rare and historic 3-day visit of the North Korean delegation to Seoul came to a close as they returned to Pyongyang on a North Korean plane from Incheon International Airport late Sunday night. Their departure came after the high-profile delegation, including Kim Jong-un's powerful younger sister, watched the final concert by the Samjeon Orchestra side-by-side with South Korean President Moon Jae-in. It was President Moon and Kim Yo-jong's fourth close encounter since they first greeted each other during the opening ceremony of the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. During the concert, the two sides expressed hope that the momentum of dialogue and reconciliation will continue.
Now that we have set a foundation to exchange opinions and even hold reunions with President Moon Jae-in, I return home with the hope we can meet again.
Kim Yo-jong, who was part of the 22-member delegation led by the ceremonial head of state Kim Yong-nam, was also revealed to be the North Korean leader's special envoy as she delivered a personal letter from Kim Jong-un to the South Korean president on Saturday, when the North delegation paid a visit to Seoul's presidential office of Cheongwade. The letter contained an invitation for the South Korean leader to visit Pyongyang. Moon responded that he hopes that, quote, the right conditions will be created so that the proposed visit can take place. Before attending the art troupe's performance, the South Korean Prime Minister hosted a luncheon and President Moon's Chief of Staff hosted a farewell dinner for the North Korean delegation. Park Hyo-jun, Arirang News.
And when President Moon responded that right conditions will have to be formed for his visit to Pyongyang, many believe the term refers to tight coordination and agreement with Washington. Oh Jung-hee delves deeper into what Seoul should do to keep up this reconciliatory momentum while drawing the U.S. and the communist state to the dialogue table.
Kim Yo-jong's 3-day visit to South Korea as a special envoy left Seoul with some questions about how to continue this rare momentum for dialogue. On behalf of her brother, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, Kim Yo-jong invited South Korean President Moon Jae-in to Pyongyang, to which the president responded that right conditions will have to be created for that to happen. For Seoul, ironing out differences with the U.S. is crucial. Washington's been explicitly wary of Pyongyang's actions, calling them a charm offensive, and it's warned the regime of tougher sanctions in response to its nuclear and missile programs. The U.S. Defense Secretary is also still skeptical about whether the apparent thaw can really lead to results.
Using the Olympics in a way to reduce tension, if that's going to have any traction once the Olympics are over, we can't say right now.
Some see the inter-Korean detente amount into nothing once Seoul and Washington kick off their joint military exercises in April. Seoul's Unification Ministry says Pyongyang could make an, quote, unprecedentedly dramatic move to improve inter-Korean ties, but whether that would be for denuclearization is not clear.
We believe that the two Koreas share a consensus on improving inter-Korean ties and establishing peace on the Korean Peninsula.
South Korea welcomes dialogue with the North, but at the same time believes things have to move at the right pace for the U.S. too. And with Washington firm that it wants to see a sincere attitude from the North towards denuclearization, experts think Pyongyang should be the one that shifts direction.
South Korea should try to get the North to change its stance. There needs to be a discussion between the two Koreas about Pyongyang's denuclearization before Seoul sends an envoy to the North.
Pundits add that Seoul should act as a bridge between the U.S. and Pyongyang, helping both of them satisfy their conditions for talks. But denuclearization, they say, has to be the utmost priority. And in that regard, we could see Pyongyang opening up about what it wants. 오정희, 아리랑 뉴스.
The possibility of an inter-Korean summit is being met with mixed reactions from the National Assembly. While the ruling party welcomes the move, the conservative opposition expressed concerns emphasizing denuclearization efforts must come first. Kim Min-ji zooms in on the contrasting views.
The ruling Democratic Party of Korea welcomed North Korea's invite for summit talks, calling it an opportunity to improve inter-Korean relations. The party noted that while there are lingering concerns, peace starts from dialogue. It also expressed hope that inter-Korean summit talks could eventually lead to dialogue between Pyongyang and Washington.
If an inter-Korean summit is held, it will go down as the biggest achievement of the Pyeongchang Olympics. We have to work with greater responsibility to prepare and respond carefully to the invitation. We need to persuade our allies so that the summit talks take place with support from the international community.
The Blue House said the talks could take place should the two sides create the right conditions, likely meaning progress on resolving a nuclear standoff and sincere efforts towards denuclearization. However, the main opposition Liberty Korea party was highly critical. Using an Olympics analogy, the party said it's North Korean leader Kim Jong-un who has won the gold medal. The party said the string of discussions that would be needed to prepare for summit talks would only give Pyongyang more time to beef up its nuclear programs and room to get around international pressure and sanctions. It added that talks not based on the premise of denuclearization would be nothing more than sending a delegation to the North to celebrate its nuclear development.
President Moon met with the sister of the North Korean leader 4 times during her 3-day stay here, but not once did he bring up the issue of denuclearization.
The center-right Padam Party was more or less on the same page, saying that what the president should be doing is stepping up sanctions and maximizing pressure while persuading the U.S. not to opt for military action. The party stressed that without solving the nuclear issue, it would be better not to hold talks at all. Kim Min-ji, 아리랑 뉴스.